For example 2, solving inequalities, this is just a two-step inequality. So we're going to add or subtract first. So I'm going to subtract 9. And we get 4x is greater than 21 minus 9 is 12. Then, to get x by itself, you're going to divide both sides by 4. And we get x is greater than 3. Okay, so on the number line, we're going to place 3. We're going to make sure that we have an open circle. And then this is facing greater, so this direction. So we're going to also go that direction. And my arrow and my greater than symbol, they match. They're the same direction, going the same way. For letter B, again, this is also a two-step inequality. So we're going to subtract 5 first. And we get negative 3x less than or equal to. And if we subtract, we get 18. And then we need to divide by negative 3. And we get negative 6. But because we divided by a negative number, so the negative number is at the bottom or in the denominator of the fraction, this has to flip. So it looks like that. Now, I also want to mention that on the number line, we would have a closed circle. And I know I've been using a highlighter because it's just easier to draw your arrow. But one thing that you want to look for is that if you have to draw it on the line here, on the number line. You can't draw it up and above like that. You have to draw on the number line. So I find it easier to use the highlighter, but you could just make it a little bit darker or thicker here and graph. Okay. So either way is fine. But just note that this one is special because we had to flip the inequality because we divided by a negative. In letter C, this is a multi-step inequality, so we can't just add subtract first. We have to distribute or combine like terms. So in this case, we can't combine yet. Okay, we have these parentheses in our way. So let's distribute. And then we bring out our minus 4x greater than or equal to negative 5. And then our 3x and our negative 4x, they can combine, and they become negative 1x plus 3 greater than or equal to negative 5. So now we're going to subtract 3, and we have negative 1x greater than or equal to negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8. Okay. And then our last step is to divide by negative 1. So if I divide negative 8 divided by negative 1, I get 8. But I divided by a negative number again. So because I divided by a negative number, I need to flip that inequality to be less than or equal to. So on my number line, I place an 8. I need to have a closed circle because I have that line here. That equal to part means close your circle. And then I want to go less than. And that is the direction that this is pointing. It's pointing this way. So I need to go where all the numbers are getting less. So remember that whatever you do when you draw your line, you have to have your arrow, your line, on the number line. Not above it, not below it. It needs to be on the line. Okay. Okay, and then the last one that we're going to do today is this one. So we're going to distribute the negative 1 right here. So negative 7x positive 18 minus 2x greater than 0. So now we're going to combine our like terms. And negative 7 minus 2 is negative 9x plus 18 greater than 0. So now we're going to subtract 18, and we have negative 9x greater than negative 18. And so now we need to divide by a -9. But again, we divided by a negative number. So this would be 2. And then we have to change this by flipping it to less than. So we would place our 2 on our number line. You can place it anywhere on the number line that you'd like. It needs to be an open circle because there is no equal to here. And then it's going to go less. So this direction here, which is the same direction that this is showing. It's pointing that direction. Okay. So for this, notes, you're going to stop right here. And on the next slide, it's going to tell you what you need to do for class. And then we will pick up the rest of the notes next class period.